Help support Name Explain by liking this video, leaving a comment and subscribing to the channel. Something I love so much about language is that it's a constantly changing thing. It's never truly finished. As time goes on, so does language, with some words falling out of favour, some words getting new meanings, and some brand new words being created altogether. This is simply because our world is always changing. New things and ideas come into existence, and it would be pretty hard to talk about these new things and ideas if we didn't have words to represent them. So words are created for them. If only there was some place or thing that we could compile all these words into, with perhaps maybe their definitions too and examples of how to use them. Oh yeah, dictionaries. Dictionaries are hugely valuable. Well, if you're obsessed with words like I am, they're valuable anyway. The oldest single language English dictionary that we know dates back to 1604. Robert Corddry's Table Alphabetical lists over 3,000 words of English, all with brief and simple descriptions. That's safe to say that in the last 400 plus years, a lot has changed in regards to dictionaries. While many of us still may think of huge books when we talk about dictionaries, they've actually gone beyond that too. Well, okay, yes, they still exist as books, but now with the advent of modern technologies and the internet, dictionaries can live online in a much easier to navigate form. Plus, with dictionaries living online, it means they're much easier to update. Instead of publishing brand new editions of the book every year, a single word can be added in a moment. Though, while it's easier than ever to update dictionaries, does this mean it's easier to add a word to the dictionary? Well, it seems that despite these modern dictionaries, modern lexicographers, people who compile dictionaries, still use the same rules to decide if a word should go in the dictionary or not. However, what exactly are those rules? How could you get a word into the dictionary? It seems to get a word that you've coined into the dictionary, there are two key criteria that have to be ticked off: widespread use and agreement. This means that the word has to be in use by a large amount of people, and those people all have to agree on what the word means. Lexicographers spend huge amounts of time looking at modern writing. This can be from books to news articles and even tweets. When they spot a pattern in language, a certain word being used often and each time it meaning the same thing, then they add it to the dictionary. So even if you have created the single greatest word that perfectly fits its definition, if no one is using it, then it's not going in. Though feel free to add it to the Urban Dictionary yourself. However, while that might make it sound like it's tough to get a word into the dictionary, you'll be surprised at just how many new words are added on a yearly basis. And speaking of years, we recently entered a brand new year, that being 2020. If you cast your mind back to the start of 2019, I made a video explaining words that entered the dictionary in 2018. Well, we've already established my love-hate relationship with traditions, so why not carry on another one? And boy, do we have a lot of new words to choose from. In 2019, over 2,500 words and definitions were added to the dictionary, though we won't be looking into all of these, that's for sure. However, before we really dive into this, let's lay out some ground rules. When I say over 2,500 words have been added to the dictionary, I specifically mean the Oxford English Dictionary, as that's my dictionary of choice, though others are available, and it seems there very possibly could be more. OED give 4 updates to their dictionary a year, and we only have 3 for 2019. Their website proudly says the next update will come in December 2019. As it's now January 2020, I'm going to say they're a little bit behind on this one. But no worries, we have plenty of words to choose from still from the updates they have given us. And while we normally focus on names here on the channel, for these videos I'd like to spread out into other word classes. Don't be surprised if you don't only see nouns but the odd adjective, and even a verb too. However, the first word I want to cover is a noun. I start with this word as it's a great example of a word that simply wouldn't be able to exist 100 years ago, or even 50 years ago. This word is nomophobia. I'm sure you'll be able to somewhat understand this word simply from its phobia suffix, which means fear of something and comes from the Greek phobos, meaning fear. Though what on earth does the nomo part mean then? Well, the no part simply means no, and the mo part is a shortening of mobile. This word doesn't mean a fear of not moving, but mobile refers to mobile phones, which are known in other parts of the English speaking world as cell phones, or just phones even. Nomophobia's definition is anxiety about not having access to a mobile phone or mobile phone service, which is something I think a lot of us have suffered in our life. But like I said, this is a great example of a word that simply would not have existed 100 years ago, as mobile phones didn't exist, so a fear of not having access to one didn't exist either. Next up is a word I've heard in use for many years now: chillax. This is a pretty old term, so I may think it was only added to the dictionary this year. OED themselves have a record of the word being used from 1994, so chillax is at least as old as me. Nevertheless, I guess this just proves how long a word has to be in use before it can officially be added to the dictionary. Anyway, for those who may not have heard this word, chillax is a verb and is defined as to calm down and relax, to take it easy. The word itself is a blending of 2 other words with very similar meanings to this word, chill and relax. These 2 words themselves are rather interesting too. too. Relax comes from a Latin origin and means loosen, which makes sense as even today we tell people to loosen up if we want them to calm down, aka relax. But chill? Chill is a word with so many meanings. The primary definition for chill is to make something cold, but has since gone on to also mean calm down. I imagine this comes from the fact that being angry and being hot are closely associated. So when we want someone to not be angry, we want them to be not so heated, so we tell them to chill. At least that's my theory anyway. The next word I'd like to cover is the adjective of farty, simply because I'm an immature child and this word makes me giggle. And like with chillax, farty is a word that has been around for ages. OED have records of it from 1965, yet finally it's been given a place in the dictionary. Farty is defined as resembling or suggestive of a fart, and I don't think we need to go into too much detail on how this word came to be. It's simply the word fart with the Y suffix attached, as we see so often in word formation. This Y suffix is used regularly for making a noun into an adjective. Think of things like smell and smelly and cheese and cheesy. I guess farty is just the next logical step in all this. Fart itself seems to come from ancient unknown origins though. A particularly niche word that got added to the dictionary in 2019 is Manhattan henge. Now I know what you're thinking, what on earth is a Manhattan henge? Well, it's defined as a phenomenon in which the sun rises or sets in alignment with the streets that run east to west on the street grid of Manhattan, New York City, which might make a bit more sense. However, it really clicks together when you see photos of a Manhattan henge. This name comes from a combination of Manhattan, the borough of New York City in which this phenomenon takes place, and henge, like with Stonehenge. This isn't because the skyscrapers of Manhattan are placed on top of each other like with the rocks of Stonehenge, but because this scenario of sun shining through the gaps happens at Stonehenge too. Manhattan itself is a word that's thought to come from a Native American language. It would have originally been Mannahatta and meant tiny islands of many hills, though those hills don't seem to be as present now. And the henge part of Stonehenge seems to be an old English word for hanging, as these stones are somewhat hanging from one another. Sometimes seriously old words that aren't even used much anymore are retroactively added to the dictionary, and the noun of sprunting and its verb form of sprunt are prime examples of this. This is a Scottish term and is defined as to pay romantic or amorous attention to a person, to seek to gain the affection of a person. It's a term that dates back to the 1800s, and why it was only added now I don't know. Even its etymology is uncertain, though perhaps it relates to sprinting, as you may sprint/sprunt towards the one you love. Mark Forsyth, author of the amazing book The Etymologicon, has even listed sprunt as one of the lost words he wished would come back. Well, now that it's in the dictionary, perhaps its return is imminent. One of the words that entered the dictionary in 2019 I found most interesting is hardly a new word at all. In fact, it's a word I imagine pretty much all of you will know already. Favourite. Yep, it took till 2019 for the word favourite to be added to the dictionary. Okay, so I'm lying a bit there. Favourite has been in the dictionary for ages, however it was as a noun and adjective. In 2019, favourite was added to the dictionary as a verb, as in to favourite something, like we do with websites we use regularly. I find this so fascinating because I've been using favourite as a verb for years now, but it never really occurred to me that I was using a noun as a verb and not changing it any other way. Maybe it's because I'm just way too into words, but I found this really neat, and seeing favourite added to the dictionary as a verb made me realise this. A simple, easy to understand verb that made its way into the dictionary in 2019 is dejunk, which is defined as to remove junk from a place by disposing of clutter and unwanted possessions. There really isn't too much with this one, it's just the usual D prefix meaning to undo and junk. Junk's etymology isn't actually known, but originally it just meant old unwanted rope, but transitioned to mean anything old and unwanted. I included dejunk here as I feel at the start of the year many people want to improve their lives, and having a good dejunk is a great way to do that. Perhaps I could do with one myself. Perhaps the best use of wordplay I found from words added in 2019 has to go to the noun has been. Now at first I found it hard to figure out what this word could mean. It didn't ring any bells in my head as to what word or words it could come from. But then I read its definition, with that definition being a woman who previously identified as a lesbian, especially one who now identifies as heterosexual, and then it all clicked. The word is a wonderful blending of has been and lesbian, which I just found very clever. The word lesbian itself of course derives from the Greek island of Lesbos, and I explained it in much more detail in another video of mine. A verb I've been hearing for some time now is gamify, and in 2019 it finally made its way into the dictionary. This means to make something into or like a game, to apply elements of game playing such as point scoring, competition with others, etc. to typically encourage engagement with a product or service. This is of course just the word game with the -ify suffix attached to it. Gamification, as it is in noun form, is something I've been interested in for a while now, so I'm happy to see it added to the dictionary. And finally we have the magnificent noun of omnishambles. shambles. Omni is a prefix that means all-encompassing and that something is happening in all ways and places, and shambles means something that is an absolute disorder. So omni shambles means a situation that is going wrong in every possible way imaginable. So this word is just a blending of omni and shambles. It's actually defining the OED as a situation that has been comprehensively mismanaged or is characterized by a series of blunders and miscalculations, chiefly in political contexts. Now, I wonder what political situation has been going on in our planet to bring the word omnishambles into the dictionary. Anyway, I better stop before this gets too political. This was just 10 of the words added to the dictionary in 2019. What one was your favourite? And like I mentioned, there were way more words added. OED's update page will be linked down below, so go check it out. Find some words you liked and share them in the comments. And fine, let's try and peer into the crystal ball and figure out what words will enter the dictionary in 2020, and then hopefully I'll explain them to you all in January 2021. Thank you to all my patrons who support Name Explain on a monthly basis. Name Explain depends on small monthly donations from fans like you to help keep the channel running. Just a small amount of $2 a month helps in a huge way, grants you patron exclusive Name Explain extras, and gets your name here with all these awesome people. Thank you. Hello all, and thank you so much for reaching the end of the video. Stick around and check out another video and subscribe to update on all things Name Explain. You can follow myself on Twitter at NameExplainYT. Follow me there and tweet the name Greta at me so I know you came from this message. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and once again thank you all so much.